To all attendees, please be seated and kindly set your mobile phones to silent or vibrate mode. Good afternoon, Jakarta, and good morning to our colleague in Istanbul, Turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the virtual MoU sign-in ceremony between Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Indonesia, and Kırıkkale University, Turkey. The Honorable Rector of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, which represented by Dr. Toto Bintoro, Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation Affairs of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Professor Dr. Suyono, MSI, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Professor Dr. Agus Dudung, MPD, Vice Rector for General and Financial Affairs of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Dr. Haji Abdul Sukur, SPD, MSI, Vice Rector for Student Affairs of Universitas Negeri Jakarta,
Professor Dr. Errol Yilmaz, Vice Rector of Kırıkkale University, Assist Professor Dr. Şevket Efci, Secretary General of Kırıkkale University, Ms. Elizabeth Diana Dewi, Council of Social and Culture Affairs in Consulate General of Republic of Indonesia in Istanbul, Mr. Muhammad Kilinç, Third Secretary of the Turkish Embassy in Jakarta, Professor Dr. Ari Saptono, Dean of Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Assist Professor Dr. Zainab Bashair, Head of International Office, Kırıkkale University, Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya, Department of Economics, all Vice Deans of Faculty of Economics, and our warmest greetings to all the invited guests. It is an honor and a precious opportunity for us, Paramita Putri and Abdul Aziz, as Duta Universitas Negeri Jakarta, to host you at this important event.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin the MoU sign-in ceremony with the national anthem of the Republic of Indonesia, followed by the national anthem of Republic of Turkey. To all distinguished guests, please stand up. Thank you, and please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we will hear a speech that will be given by the Council of Social and Culture Affairs of Indonesian Consulate General in Istanbul. To Ms. Elizabeth Diana Dewi, the time is yours.
Ulang, ulang, ulang. We would like to invite, langsung aja.
We would like to invite Ms. Elizabeth Diana Dewi for giving speech. To Ms. Elizabeth Diana Dewi, the time is yours.
Lanjut, lanjut, lanjut. Roll, roll. Oh, thank you dulu, thank you.
Thank you to Ms. Elizabeth Diana Dewi.
Moving on to the next agenda, we will hear the remarks from the representative of Turkey Embassy in Jakarta. To Mr. Muhammad Kilinç, the stage is yours.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, we can hear you clearly, sir.
Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and good morning to you all. We are honored to be addressing you at this MoU signing ceremony between the Universitas Negeri Jakarta and the Kırıkkale University of Turkey. Dating back to the country. We regard him not only as a good friend and strategic partner of Turkey, but also as a key actor in the regional architecture with the capacity of contributing to stability, security, and welfare at the global level. As a reflection of understanding, we have a strong wish to further develop our relations with Indonesia in all domains, especially in the educational area. As partners, Turkey and Indonesia enjoy a multidimensional relationship. We form bilateral relations as well as with collaboration within the framework of several.
Sorry, sir, pardon. Your sound is breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear now, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Turkey has become one of the top 10 countries hosting the most foreign students in the world, with more than 300,000 international students. Thousands of Indonesian students study at the most prestigious universities in Turkey. Since 1992, more than 1,000 Indonesian students have been granted Turkey scholarships. Almost all universities in Turkey have an exchange program with a number of universities in Europe. This greatly benefits international students to broaden their horizons, networks, and language skills. Likewise, Indonesia offers various opportunities for Turkish students. Esteemed guests, we believe that education-oriented relations can lead to long-standing partnerships. In this regard, our joint goal with the Indonesian authorities is to further increase the number of Indonesian and Turkish students in both countries, because we believe that today's students will build a network of future leaders committed to strengthening cooperation and mutual understanding among states and societies. And the most importantly, there will be the next generation of goodwill ambassadors between Turkey and Indonesia. In this regard, we hope that today's event and signing of this MoU will benefit the educational relations between both countries. Taking this opportunity, we would like to once again congratulate both universities for this timely initiative. Embassy of the Republic of Turkey in Jakarta is always ready to assist in expanding cooperation in this field. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad Kilinch, for the remarks.
Moving on to the next agenda. Now we will hear a speech that will be given by the Council of Social and Culture Affairs of Indonesian Consulate General in Istanbul. To Ms. Elizabeth Diana Dewi, the time is yours. Sorry, miss, we can't hear your voice. We still cannot hear your voice, miss. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Unmute, minta unmute. Ask to unmute.
Please unmute Miss Diana. Unmute the audio. We still cannot hear your voice.
Lanjut.
Thank you, Ms. Elizabeth Diana. Proceeding to the next agenda, the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of Universitas Negeri Jakarta will also give his welcome speech. To Professor Dr. Suyono MSI, the audience is yours.
Tes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
His Excellency Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation Affairs of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Dr. Toto Bintoro, Vice Rector for General and Finance Affairs of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Profesor Agus Dudung, Vice Rector for Students and Alumni Affairs of UNJ, Dr. Abdul Syukur, Head of the Education and Teaching Development Institute of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Profesor Dr. Muhammad Sid, Vice Rector of Kirikale University, Profesor Dr. Mehmet Basalan, Vice Rector of Kirikale University, Profesor Dr. Errol Zilmas, Secretary General of Kirikale University, Assistant Professor Dr. Şevket FC, Third Secretary of the Turkish Embassy in Jakarta, Mr. Muhammad Kilinç, Council of Social and Cultural Affairs, Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia in Istanbul, Turkey, Ibu Elizabeth Diana Dewi, The Honorable Assistant Professor Dr. Zeynep Bazer, Head of International Office, Dean of Faculty of Economics of UNJ, Profesor Dr. Ari Sabtono, Vice Dean of the Faculty of Economics, Professor Dr. Usep Suhud, the keynote speakers of International Seminar Series, Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya, and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Rector of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, I am honored to meet our new college from Kirikale University, Turkey, virtually. Let me inform about Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Universitas Negeri Jakarta is a public university located in Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. UNJ has 8 faculties, 1 postgraduate school, and 5 laboratory schools. The faculties are Faculty of Education, Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Social Sciences, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, Faculty of Language and Arts, Faculty of Sport Science, Faculty of Economics, and Faculty of Psychology Education. Since established in 1964, UNJ was a teaching institute, which played an important role in developing education and producing professional teachers. In 1999, the teaching institute became a university. Therefore, besides graduating professional teachers, UNJ also has responsibility to graduate professionals in science, art, language, engineering, and sport. Since establishing the vision to be the reputable university in Asia, UNJ has developed several numbers of international programs and collaboration with various international partners. Currently, UNJ has 2 university partners from Turkey. They are Kadir Has University and Istanbul Arel University. Both of these universities start the collaboration in 2022 through international conference and lecture exchange program. We are honored to have Kirikale University as our new partner. The virtual MoU signing today would yield a meaningful collaboration in many areas, in student exchange, lecturer exchange, joint and dual degree program, postdoctoral, collaborative research and publication, and other programs. This virtual MoU signing ceremony, Kirikale University and Universitas Negeri Jakarta will conduct an international seminar series of Economics EXPO 2023 with a keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya. I think it is a good start for our collaboration. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Entering the gate of knowledge through Universitas Negeri Jakarta, you will experience a unique atmosphere where multicultural perspectives meet in academic practices. Located in the heart of the capital city of Indonesia, Universitas Negeri Jakarta concerned with the environmental issues to promote urban and green campus. As one of the best public universities in Indonesia, Universitas Negeri Jakarta offers you with world-class programs enriched by the touch of local wisdom and supported with high technology facilities and disability accesses. Universitas Negeri Jakarta has played an important role in developing education, science, art, technology, and sport since 1964. Universitas Negeri Jakarta serves students of diploma, undergraduate, and postgraduate programs. They are deployed in 8 faculties and 1 postgraduate program. Teaching and learning activities are delivered in joyful atmosphere and meaningful interaction to promote student-centered and autonomous learning. For that purpose, Universitas Negeri Jakarta develop laboratory schools where various educational innovations are tried and tested to get best practices. In the sphere of sports sciences, modern sports stadium has been built, equipped with modern and high-tech sport facilities. To achieve Universitas Negeri Jakarta vision to go global, various international programs has been conducted comprising such as student mobility program, lecturers exchange program, and various international seminars. In line with this, Universitas Negeri Jakarta keeps on developing both international program and infrastructure facilities to achieve Universitas Negeri Jakarta vision to be reputable university in Asia.
Moving on to the next agenda. Now we will hear a speech that will be given by the Council of Social and Cultural Affairs of Indonesian Consulate General in Istanbul. To Ms. Elizabeth Diana Dewi, the time is yours. Sorry, Miss, we still cannot hear your voice.
Yes, can you hear now?
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear you
clear,
right
ma'am.
now. Yes, clear.
Yes. Thank you for this opportunity, Ms. Master of Ceremony. I would like, first of all, to extend my greeting for Honorable Vice Rectors from Universitas Negeri of Jakarta, Honorable Vice Rectors and dignitaries from Kırıkkale University in Turkey, my distinguished guests and gentlemen, my colleague, especially from
Thank you, Ms. Elizabeth Diana Dewi, for the speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we will hear a speech that will be given by the Vice Rector of Kırıkkale University, Turkey. To Professor Dr. Mehmet Başalan, the time is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Dear Vice Chancellors of University of Negeri Jakarta and dear Vice Chancellors of Kırıkkale University, Turkey, and distinguished guests from Indonesian Embassy and Turkish Embassy, dear colleagues, and I am seeing some students are anxious to hear Professor Dikkaya's speech. I guess I salute all of you with my sincerity. Also, I congratulate your Ramadan and upcoming Eid al-Fitr. First of all, I thank you for the Honorable Rector of University of Negeri Jakarta for giving us this opportunity to sign this Memorandum of Understanding to start collaboration with University of Kırıkkale and University of Negeri Jakarta. Also, I say salam of Kırıkkale University Rector, Professor Ersan Aslan, to all audience. On behalf of our Honorable Rector, Professor Ersan Aslan, and my university, I thank all of the participants and all of the unknown heroes who made this occasion possible. As Professor Suyono mentioned, University of Negeri Jakarta has a long history and good reputation in Asian universities and also good international collaboration opportunities. Same as Kırıkkale University, with the 35,000 students, Kırıkkale University has 12 faculties, including Faculty of Education, Faculty of Dentistry, Faculty of Arts and Science, Faculty of Science, Faculty of Law, Faculty of Engineering and Architecture, Faculty of Health Science, Faculty of Sport Science, Faculty of Medicine, and lastly, Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. So our faculty members, our researchers and lecturers are very anxious to have collaboration with the partners in University of Negeri, Jakarta. I am sure this signing ceremony will flare up the cooperation in the area of research and cooperation in teaching and learning and social service. With this opportunity, our colleagues and students will help the society and will help to solve the problems of the world. And also, this will give good environment for organizing events such as conferences, as Honorable Vice Chancellor mentioned. Professor Mehmet Dikkaya is going to give a speech maybe after few minutes. So lastly, again, I thank you for all participants, and I thank you for all people behind this event, preparing this occasion and preparing this memorandum of understanding signing. Lastly, please allow my pronunciation, but thank you, Terima kasih.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Mehmet Basalan, for the speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments, we will witness the Memorandum of Understanding signing ceremony between Kırıkkale University, Turkey and Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Indonesia. We would like to invite Dr. Toto Bintoro, the Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation Affairs of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, whom represent Director of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, and Professor Dr. Mehmet Baslan, Vice Rector of Kırıkkale University, Turkey. Since it's such an important event between these universities, we also invite all guests and committees to capture this moment.
We should hold like this, right?
To the documentation team, please be prepared and I'll count down from 3, 2, 1. Once again, 3, 2, 1.
And now, to all honored guests, please come forward to the front and let us take some photos to capture our togetherness today. Silakan, Bapak-bapak, ya. Kita akan mengadakan sesi foto bersama.
To the documentation team, please be prepared. Okay, I'll count down from 3, 2, 1. Once again, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you, sir and madam, and please return to your seats.
Ladies and gentlemen, the agenda has come to an end. The next event is Seminar Series of Economics Expo 2023. As the ceremony ends, we, Abdul Aziz Al-Hadi and Paramita Putri, would like to say goodbye and resign.
The next event will be hosted by Evan Dito.
Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed the signing of the MoU between Universitas Negeri Jakarta and Kırıkkale University. This is a significant milestone in the collaboration between these two universities, where the alliance forms anew, walking together in a path full of opportunity, and we should be honored to have been a part of this historic occasion. Now let's continue with our webinar. We have a lot to cover today, including some exciting presentation and discussion from our esteemed speaker, Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya from Kırıkkale University, Turkey. So let's dive right in and make the most of this opportunity to learn and engage with a great-minded speaker. But before we proceed, I just wanted to take a moment to remind everyone about a few things before we can continue. First, please make sure that your microphone is on mute to avoid any background noises. If you have any question during the webinar, you can use the Q&A session that will be held after the main material session.
Our guest speaker will try to answer as many questions as possible during the allotted time. As everything seems to be in order, let's kickstart the hype and let the second session begins. Hello again and wonderful afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our second international webinar today. I owe my highest adoration for our utmost upstanding, dear the most accomplished, Dr. Toto Bintoro as Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation Affairs, Professor Dr. Siono as Vice Rector of Academic Affairs, Professor Agus Dudung as Vice Rector for General and Finance Affairs, Dr. Abdul Sukur as Vice Rector for Students and Alumni Affairs, Professor Dr. Ari Saptono as Dean of Faculty of Economics, Vice Dean of Faculty of Economics, Professor Dr. Mehmet Besalan, Vice Rector of Kirikala University, Professor Dr. Errol Yilmaz, Vice Rector, Assist Professor Dr. Safket FG as Secretary General, Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya as Department of Economics, Assistant Professor Dr. Zeynep Besser, Head of International Office in Turkey Embassy in Jakarta. Turkey Embassy in Jakarta, Mr. Mohammed Kilink, Third Secretary of the Turkish Embassy in Jakarta, Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia in Istanbul, Turkey, there's Elizabeth Diana Dewi, Consul of Social and Cultural Affairs. For those who had just joined for the second session, I bid you the warmest of welcome. But for those who stayed with us from the first webinar, I'll offer you my sincerest and utmost gratitude. I'm still the host for this webinar, and I will be guiding you through this opening session until the main material session. My name is Bernardus Evandito Yudhistira, and I'm currently on my second semester at Undergraduate Management Study Program, Faculty of Economics, State University of Jakarta. I am so excited to be your MC for this international webinar. It is truly an honor to be here with all of you from around the world and to have the opportunity to learn together. I'm sure we are going to learn a lot from our amazing speaker today, Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya, a renowned lecturer at Kirikala University, who will be lecturing us on our topic for today, economic and political transformation in post-Soviet Muslim states after 3 decades. But first and foremost, before we can start the material session, our Honorable Dean of Economic Faculty at Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Professor Dr. Ari Saptono SA MPD, will deliver an opening speech. Dear Professor, the time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Rector of Kirikala University, our representative, Honorable Vice Rector of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Honorable Speaker Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya, dear participants, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank each one of you for joining this international seminar. I bid a very warm welcome to the prominent speaker, Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya, and the participants who took out your valuable time and join us today to be a part of this seminar. We are honored to have you all with us. Alhamdulillah, an MoU has just been signed between Universitas Negeri Jakarta and Kirikala University. May it bring progress to both universities. Ladies and gentlemen, this seminar and MoU signing are organized to celebrate the 18th anniversary of the Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. We organize many events to celebrate this year anniversary, such as the International Digital Enterprise Competition, the International Stock Portfolio Analysis Competition, the International Marketing Competition, the Accounting Competition, the Office Explorer Competition, the Dean Cup, donation for the poor and orphan, and of course, this international seminar. The title of this seminar is Economic and Political Transformation in the Post-Soviet Muslim State after 3 decades. I wish this seminar will enlighten all of us about the economic and political transformation of post-Soviet Muslim states. Last, and I ensure the seminar will be fruitful for everyone. Please enjoy it. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My utmost gratitude, Professor, for your empowering speech and your decision to grace us with your presence. Now for the main event that everyone here is waiting for, let us give our warmest welcome to our moderator and our guest speaker. Before the session starts, I would like to briefly introduce you all to our dearest moderator, Mistress Mitsalina Tantri. Mistress Mitsalina Tantri is a management science PhD student with experience in finance management. Her research focuses on the intersection of financial management, accounting, and corporate governance. She specializes in behavioral corporate finance and green accounting. To Mistress Mitsalina Tantri, are you here with us yet? Ah, there you are. It is such an honor to have you with us as a moderator. How are you doing today? This afternoon, ma'am. Unfortunately, no, mass. No, I still can't.
Hello, Tess. Can you hear me, Evan?
Yes, clearly now.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Evan, for opening this honorary seminar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin wa binista'in wa ala umuri din wa din wa salatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wa mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain amma ba'du. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Dr. Toto Bintoro, Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation Affairs, Professor Dr. Suyono, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Professor Agus Dudung, Vice Rector for General and Affairs, Dr. Abdul Sukur, Vice Rector for Student and Alumni Affairs, Professor Dr. Ari Saptono, Dean of Faculty of Economics, Professor Usep Suhud, and Professor Saparudin, Vice Dean of Faculty of Economics. Professor Dr. Mehmet Basalan, Vice Rector of Kirikale University, Professor Dr. Errol Yilmaz, Vice Rector, Assist Professor Dr. Shevket FC, Secretary General, Professor Dr. Mehmet Dikaya, Department of Economics, Assist Professor Dr. Zeynep Basir, Head of International Office, Mr. Muhammad Kilinc, Third Secretary of Turkish Embassy in Jakarta, Elizabeth Diana Dewi, Consul of Social and Cultural Affairs. And our best of the best speaker, how are you, Professor Mehmet Dikaya? Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam. Hi, good
Hi,
afternoon.
good afternoon. Before we begin our seminar, let me introduce myself. My name is Mitsalina Tantri, and I'm very grateful to be here. First of all, I also want to express my condolence for the earthquake disaster that befell our brother and our sister in Turkey. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala give you healing and speedy recovery. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin.
Thank you very much. Jazakallah.
Inshallah. I hope you're excited, even though we are still in the middle of fasting. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I want to explain how to grade our speaker today. Prof. Mehmet Dikaya is a political economist who studies both international political economy and regional studies, and especially at the intersection of the two fields. For a long time, he has conducted many studies on the international political economy of post-Soviet Eurasia, European, and Turkey. He completed his undergraduate studies at Ankara University and his master's degree at Istanbul University. He completed his doctorate at Max Mara University. Between 2005 and 2010, he gave lectures on economics, Turkish economics, and Eurasia at Kafkas University. Between 2010 until 2011, he managed a project supported by Tubitak at Indiana University. He is still working at Kirikale University Department of Economics. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we presentation begin, let me inform you how the presentation will be going on. First, Prof. Mehmet will be invited to present the material for 45 minutes. After that, there will be question and answer session for 15 minutes and followed by conclusion. For all participants, we encourage you to ask questions and engage in discussion. And I'm very welcome you to ask questions using the chat box below, or you could also raise your hand and I will allow you to ask the question directly to the speaker. Now let's move to our main session. Please welcome our speaker, Professor Mehmet Dikaya, with a topic about economic and political transformation in post-Soviet Muslim states after 3 decades. Please.
Thank you very much. Do I have 45 minutes? Is that right?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, distinguished brothers and sisters, dear distinguished faculty members and distinguished university administrators. Thank you very much for participating us. Today's discussion, can I share presentation? Is that possible, I think? Okay. Now, today's discussion is about economic and political transformation in post-Soviet Muslim states after 3 decades. What happened after 3 decades? The dissolution of the former Soviet Union shocked the world in the 1990s, and 6 Muslim states emerged from the ground of former Soviet Union. So our discussion is today, our seminar is today about their capabilities, their possibilities, and their current situation, about their current situation in the world sphere. Our outline today will be for 4 parts, from introduction to conclusion. Firstly, we present a short introduction about the region, and then their economic transformation, comparatively, and the political transformation. Then I added this title, the religious transformation, which is related to political transformation, and the conclusion, what happened after 3 decades. These countries, first of all, the short picture I want to draw, a short picture about these countries. What are they, and where do they locate? They located in the center of Asia, mostly. So sometimes they are called Central Asia or Central Asian Muslim states. These are Azerbaijan, which is a part of Caucasus, but they are the similar characteristics. They are Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. These are our countries for today's debate. And as for a general site, surface area of these countries is more than 400 million square kilometers. Especially one of them, Kazakhstan, is the ninth largest surface area in the world. The very expanded and unlike this expanded territory or surface area, their population is relatively small, which will be discussed here. Their historical background was based on the medieval age, Khanates, strong imperial states or strong imperials like Timurids, and then Tsarist era came to Turkestan. Turkestan, I prefer to use Turkestan because Turkestan is the old name of the region. The Soviet in the Soviet era came then. Six different socialistic republics created on the ground of Soviet system, according to the 1936 constitution. Before this constitution, this region was called as Russian Turkestan or Turkestan Soviet Socialistic Republic. Then in the 1990s, the dissolution of the former USSR emerged in the World Sphere, and republics are independently governed today. That independence independence period suddenly emerged, and they were not ready for managing an independent states, and all political leaders, most of all, was the Communist Party leaders of their countries. So the transformation of the political and economic was very hard for their historical background. Turkestan in history as one region we can see that map, plus Azerbaijan on the other side of Caspian Sea. Who are living in this area, as understand the name of Turkestan, the crowded population, more than 90 population of total population as Turkey and Turkic people or Turkish people. These are divided by four section: Kazakh, Turkmen, Uzbek, and Kyrgyz. Tajiks are originally a Persian ethnic group, and they speak Persian, but they are separated from Iran because they are Sunni, not Shiite section. The population of Muslim states is almost 90 million people. 4 million kilometers square, and 900 million people that show a very fifth population. And the most crowded country in this region is Uzbekistan. Uzbeks are very prominent people in history, and their origins were dependent on Timurid Empire. So this small population here, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan, also Azerbaijan. Kazakhstan is has the largest area in this region, unlike their fee population, or very small population. That is, what about their GDP, current price in purchasing power parity? The richest country in this region, the Kazakhs, because of they have huge oil and natural gas resources, and relatively small population. Their GDP followed us. Uzbekistan, which is very crowded, most crowded country in the region. And then Azerbaijan is another natural gas and oil supplier to the world markets. Then Turkmenistan, which is the second largest natural gas providers in former Soviet Union. So natural resources is very important for the countries. Except Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, partly Uzbekistan. The first discussion is about economic transformation. Economic transformation was based on the Soviet legacy. The economic system of the Soviet Union was formed in the 1930s by Stalin and was based on Marxist-Leninist orthodoxy. And the Soviet command economy or central planning was characterized by the dominant role, and the multi-level vertical management. Prices and wages were determined administratively, or hidden prices called. There was a state monopoly in foreign trade, and the currency remained inconvertible, resulting in multiple exchange rate. So the Soviet economy was broadly isolated from the world markets autarky, which is called autarky. Over 60 years of central planning resulted in profound structural distortions, because that was a huge plan, which is called a GOS plan in Russian, and the limited that is very limited to international competitiveness of the Soviet economy, which developed in isolation from world markets. So, on the other hand, Soviet economy was over-industrialized and had an underdeveloped service sector. Industrialized regions located to western part of the Soviet Union and relatively in Kazakhstan. Soviet Muslim states didn't have any experience of capitalistic or market economy before the Bolshevik Revolution, because of the dominance of the feudal system. And industrial revolution passed. They passed the industrial revolution like world, part of Islamic world. The industrial sector dominant role was played by the military industry. Soviet Union military spending was very huge, but Soviet legacy tended to decline in the 1980s, and sharp drop in world oil prices, the anti-alcohol campaign, and their costs for the state budget. And there were some accidents like Chernobyl nuclear plant and earthquake in Armenia. And the cost of the war in Afghanistan, because Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979, and the substantial increase in social expenditures of party, that is called glasnost policy, in another words, that was called openness. Economic reform led to erosion of the central planning system and caused unmanageability of the country. Length of public discussion on price liberalization, increased inflationary expectations, and inflationary expectations started at that time. The political emancipation began in 1990s, led the Union's government and the State Bank of the USSR, GOS Bank, GOS, huge, largest, that means the laws of control over fiscal and monetary policies. The first stage of transformation started with economic in the economic sphere. The first years was very painful in the 1990s, and because formal collapse of the former Soviet Union lasted until mid-1993, and in the introducing national currencies together with Soviet ruble zone deepened monetary anarchy and accelerated inflation. Many post-Soviet countries experienced hyperinflation in the 1990s, like former Soviet Union's Muslim republics. The financial crisis of late 1990s. These were two crises: South Asian crisis and then Russian crisis. And Russia stopped servicing its debt to the private creditors. Kazakh and Kyrgyz banking suffered from the crisis during the Russian crisis in 1997. And in 1990s, in the real sector also has also very big problems. And GDP decline started in the late former Soviet Union and ended only in the late 1990s for Muslim countries of the former Union. That lasted almost 10 years, we can say this. Their national currencies introduced in 1990s, the first country is Kyrgyzstan, and then others followed. In the painful transformation, annual growth declined very much. The colored figures show that negative influence of the first years, negative figures, and decline that shows decline. For example, Turkmenistan, 5 years, Turkmenistan GDP 5 years decreased. Totally, the cumulative decline in GDP, these countries from 60% to almost 20%. That is all. That's almost the average of the former Soviet Union. Which average 50%. Azerbaijan, the most declined economy in the 1990s because of the Karabakh War. The first Karabakh War in the 1990s damaged the economy of Azerbaijan, and Tajikistan has experienced internal war that was very dramatic event for this country, and others declined the solution of the Soviet Union and the break up the supply chains. The post-transition growth recovery until 2008, financial crisis in the late 1990s were overcome unexpectedly because of three reasons. The first crisis, which overlapped with completing the first stage of structural and institutional transformation. And second, devaluation of the currencies contribute to production capacity. And the third, post-transformation growth recovery coincided with the global economic boom after 2001 September 11 events. This boom led to rapid increase in oil prices. They are very dependent to oil prices, and the rapid increase in oil price and other commodities such as natural gas, metals, and food and non-food agricultural products caused the recovery. And policies become more manageable in the second period because of global commodity boom than in the previous decade. The first, rapidly growing prices for export commodities improved the terms of trade and eased balance of payments constraints. Second, due to the rapid economic growth and increased resource renting, managing the state budget has also become easier. Third, it was possible to restore the demand for domestic money, inflation declined, and price stability showed in the region. The second stage about global financial crisis and its effect on the region. Rapid growth conditions came to the end in the ground of global financial crisis. And shock had entirely was the entire external character. Economies turned out to be more vulnerable than other transitional economies. International demand declined for goods and services produced by the former Soviet Union countries. Remittances from labor migrants in Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan declined sharply. Their labor force are very dependent to Russian markets because of they have very huge labor force working in Russia. Currently, that is the same. The global crisis made visible the fragility of the banking system, and due to the rule of low deficit, that will be very important problem for the political transformation, and the weak protection of property rights. That is why the economic transformation level is very low for these countries. And several former Soviet Union large corporations transferred part of their capital abroad. So global financial crisis affected negatively these countries. They replaced it with short-term financing and in the domestic or foreign markets, which increased their vulnerability at the time of crisis. And distrust of macroeconomic stability concerned the population behavior and small and medium-sized enterprises. The fluctuations in real GDP, we can show this, after the global financial crisis, their growth rate declined sharply. The accelerating growth and the mid 2001 mid-years, oil and commodity prices rose again rapidly, which helped the former Soviet Union countries return to economic growth after the global financial crisis. However, growth were lower than pre-crisis years and soon began declining, especially in Azerbaijan. And fading growth in Azerbaijan was related to the end of the oil boom. Oil production in this country reached its peak in 2001, in 2010, and then began to decline gradually. Meanwhile, further economic reforms have been stopped or delayed. So their economic transformation, that is why their economic transformation period is very late. In some cases, there has been a reversal of the earlier reforms associated with the autocratic trend in the political environment that is very important for political transformation. And high currency depreciation were seen in Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan. So that means economic crisis emerged in these countries. Annual growth rate for the last period, we can see again decline in real GDP for Azerbaijan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan especially. Before the COVID-19 and the COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine, the last period, the last era for the economy of the region, there have been 4 pandemic-related factors negatively affected the region. The first, that these have been internal lockdown measures intended to limit coronavirus spread. Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan applied the most stringent decisions, while Tajikistan was the most lenient. The second, world energy prices reduced to a record low level, then recovered. In 2021, prices for natural gas and other commodities started to increase rapidly. The war in Ukraine in February 2022 accelerated this growth. And third was the capital outflow from emerging markets. And the fourth channel of negative influence was decreased remittance from labor markets, as always, during global financial crisis. The last years and the 2020 figures show the decline of the real GDP and inflation rate moderately low or moderate inflation. And then if we conclude about the first section, after the independence in the late 1991, this country suffered from several macroeconomic problems. There have been 5 rounds. The first group consists of Asian and Russian financial crisis. That is because of this crisis, and the fall in global commodity prices and the COVID-19 pandemic. The second group includes slow and inconsistent economic and institutional reforms, unstable fiscal and monetary policies, poor business investment climate, domestic political crisis and armed conflicts. And as a result of numerous crises, macro indicators do not look satisfactory. Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan experienced the highest level of GDP per capita, and the poorest countries of the region are Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. They have shown minimal progress in catching up growth. The presence of a rent seems to explain the volatility of economic growth and other macroeconomic indicators. Countries are highly dependent on revenue of natural resources, such as oil and natural gas. Other macroeconomic indicators point to moderate progress in macroeconomic stabilization in the post-Soviet era. The introduction of national currencies overcame the initial period in the 1990s of the very high inflation. And since 2021, this progress has been under threat due to the growing global inflationary pressures and the war in Ukraine. Because the war between Russia and Ukraine has negatively affected the region. The second part of the speech is used 30 minutes. I have to First, for political transformation, the history or legacy from Emirates to independence. The history of legacy affected the political transformation of the region, like economic transformation. Emirate and stroke empire in history emerged in this region, such as Timurids, legacies of Tsarist era, a millennium of autocratic rule, hereditary monarchy, and not constrained by a constitution. Tsarist regime fell during World War I, and Bolshevik Revolution started. Then Lenin, Communist Party of Soviet Union, control of all level of government, established nomenclatura and party state. Then Stalin, who was a totalitarian person in history. He established a totalitarian regime, centralized political power, industrial military might, staging human cost, collectivization, hurts during the World War II. And that is very important negative events for the region at that time. History of legacy from Emirates to independence in the last century, in the 19th century, Stalin's legacy, rule of personalities versus rule of law, succession crisis versus regular elections, reliance on military and police, bureaucratic distortions, resistance, and inertia. The de-Stalinization process started in 1950s. Collective leadership, deteriorating economic conditions, and Gorbachev era came. The Russian system, he tried to change all Soviet system, but not successful. And glasnost openness in political relations, improve economic well-being, contest elections, law-governed state, private enterprises, informal social associations, concessions to US revolutions in the European Union in 1989. So these are characteristics of the Gorbachev era. Unexpected independence became What about democratic the transformation for its countries? There are two parts of democracies in this region: imitation democracies in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan, and there are a regime between democracy and authoritarian paths. These countries, Azerbaijan and Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. According to the Freedom House map of freedom, these are all, especially Tajikistan, Azerbaijan, and Kyrgyzstan, all dramatic declines in freedom have been observed in the last 10 years. They are both not free and surrounded by not free countries, because Russia is also considered as not free countries. That is a report prepared by Freedom House, but not reliable, but shows some indicators. State freedom in the world, free countries, partly free, and not free countries, almost the report consists of all countries in the world. The worst of the worst of the 56 countries designed as not free, the following 16 have the worst aggregate scores for political rights and civil liberties. Worst countries include Tajikistan and Azerbaijan, unfortunately. The last transformation period is about religious transformation, and then we are going to conclude. I have 10 minutes. From Golden Age, religious transformation is very important because they are Muslim states, but they experienced very dramatic events. Islam came to Central Asia in 8th century, and many well-known Islamic scientists and philosophers came from Central Asia. Several major Muslim empires originated in Central Asia. Maturidi, Bukhari, and many similar scholars originated from Central Asia. Under Soviet atheism, state-controlled religious movements, secularism, and Russification processes tried to marginalize Islam in these countries. And religion transformed, especially Islam, transformed to individual practices, not institutional. That was not an institutional character. Soviet nationality policies didn't eliminate all patterns of identity, but added to the complexity of defining collective identities in the region. Semi-Kyrgyz, semi-Russian, semi-Kazakh, semi-Russian, or like that, especially northern part of the region has very Russian characteristics. So that is the problem. Homo Sovieticus, a state atheism, which represents a state atheism, assimilated by populations, especially elite people of the region. The factors influencing Islamic identity of the region, tradition and indigenous Islam shaped by Hanafi teaching, Sunni Islam. There are Sunni Islam, not very few Shias. And Sufism, Naqshbandiya is most famous movement, and folk practices for centuries people lived. And settled versus nomadic Uzbeks have relatively more religiosity because they are most settled population in the region. Shiism has minor effects, mostly Ismailis, Aghan, etc. Most post-independence foreign influences came, and Islamic movements of Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. We can see these movements from the 1990s, and non-regional influences we can see. Saudis promoted Wahhabism, and Turkey subsidized religious education, and Iran's effort in Turkmenistan and Tajikistan. So Islam turned back to Central Asia in the 1990s. And the role of religion in the Muslim states. Islam continues to be state-regulated, promoting Islam. As for today, leaders identify themselves as Muslims. Kerimov took an oath of the office on the Quran and traveled to Mecca. Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan most direct control of religion. And Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan are more relaxed. The states follow Soviet model of regulation because their teachers are Soviet leaders, ex-Soviet Muslim leaders, and their teachers are unfortunately Soviet because they lived half of life in Soviet time. Laws and official formal institutions, suppressions of dissidents, and these are religions and the role of religion. Each state declared itself as either secular or a state that separates religion from the state. Each state guarantees freedom of religion and conscience, protect atheism and non-belief. Constitutions prohibit discrimination based on religious belief, hostility formed on basis of religion, political parties based on religion. In Turkmenistan, religion is completely government control, state control. State appoints and pays the clergy and control many religious schools. They all support, that is the summary. They all support an Islam that supports the state. That's the paradoxal to Islamic principles. Sites closed during Soviet period reopened and now venerated Naqshbandi tomb outside Bukhara. And government established official Islamic institutions. On the other hand, for example, Kerimov's Islamic University. Each Central Asian state has created its own muftayt. Central Asian muftis coordinate religious activities at the mosque level and supervise education at religious schools. State muftayt relationships not governed by written law, but as in Soviet period have resistance to official Islam. They are free, but they have witnessed very pressure. They have a clergy operating outside approved institutions. This clergy subject to imprisonment and arrest. Conclusions. I have 3 minutes. Conclusions. If we summarize the transformation levels of economic, political, and other sides, I prefer to show the conclusions with the help of transformation index. The general status index, general level of transformation, among 137 countries, the best score, Kyrgyzstan has the best score, and Turkmenistan is the last country. They are almost mid-level and very low levels according to this general index. The economic status index, that reflects the economic transformation, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. The order has not changed, as you see. So Kyrgyzstan is very eager for implementing democratic and economic reforms. After 3 decades, Democracy Studies Index, which is called Democratic Political Transformation, and the picture is nearly the same. Kyrgyzstan is the first country in the mid-level among other countries, and the Turkmenistan is the low level of the countries. Governance Status Index. These have very detailed transformation principles. When it was based very principle like as freedom of speech, international openness, etc. Kyrgyzstan is here. Governance Status Index is the first good score, and the Turkmenistan and the last. As for conclusion, the region has been very important, and has been an important center of Islamic civilization in history, and great thinkers have emerged in this region. Internal, external factors together delay the economic and political transition of the region. And despite the problems of economic and political transformation, the region is historically and culturally very attractive. I advise you to all to visit the region, and I think you will be enjoy very well, very much. Despite the problems of economic and political transformation, historically and culturally, the region is very attractive, and you can feel yourself very well during the visit. The general economic and political problems that exist in the Islamic world are also valid for the region. General economic and political problems, and there is a great need for transformation to be completed, not just for international legitimacy, but for the benefit of the people living in the countries. I hope these countries eliminate the traces of its Soviet past and find themselves a unique place in the contemporary world, like some other Islamic countries. Indonesia, Malaysia, Turkey, and some other countries like that. These are sources. Thanks for patience. Thank you very much for your patience. Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Prof. Mehmet. Kedengaran? No? Yes. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you very much, Prof. Mehmet, for delivering this topic and giving us such an incredible presentation. It enriched our insight and knowledge. We are so lucky to have our best of the best speaker in the world, Prof. Mehmet Dikaya. Now let's move to the long-awaited session, question and answer session. If you want to ask any question, please chat on the box below or raise your hand and directly ask to the speaker. And don't forget to mention your name and your institution. Mr. Noval, would you please directly ask your question to our speaker?
Yes, thank you in advance to Professor Mehmet Dikaya and Miss Alda Country. Good afternoon. My name is Naufal Syadik. I'm from Universitas Negeri Jakarta. I'm in bachelor's degree program. So from your presentation, Professor, I saw that one of the conclusions for economic transformation is the post-Soviet Muslim country is highly dependent on oil and natural gas revenue. So we might compare it to countries such as Qatar and UAE or the Saudis. Any country in Middle East or even in Southeast Asian, there's also Brunei Darussalam, which are very successful using its natural oil and gas and become highly profitable and highly income countries. So what are the differences between these post-Soviet Muslim countries and these Middle East oil giants? Thank you.
I didn't hear very well, but I think your question is about the differences between Central Asian countries and Middle Eastern countries. Am I right?
The Central Asia country or Middle East, yes, they are very successful with selling oils or depending on natural gas or oil in the international world. Am I right or wrong?
You argued that Middle Eastern countries are more successful for exporting. Okay. They because their experience is lasting for years, especially in the beginning of the 19th century, oil production was relevant in the Middle Eastern countries, and their producers, gas and oil producers, are originally from the Western countries, and they constructed marketing opportunities, the marketing to the world markets, and they are very close to European markets and other countries. Central Asia's problem is about infrastructure and lack of pipelines and very huge dependency to Russian markets and some management problems. There are huge natural resources because of, we mentioned today, because of many reasons resulting from political elites and their influences on the markets and, for example, state monopolies, ineffective state monopolies caused caused some problems for these countries. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So
No fault, Sadık. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No
Thank you,
fault.
Professor.
Okay, we have to move to the next question. Mrs. Kurniati.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, Professor Mehmet. My name is Kurniati. I would like to ask about what is your opinion about the most significant impact after 3 decades of political and economic transformation in Soviet Islamic countries. Can you understand my question?
What is the most important factors?
Yes, the most significant impact after 3 decades of political and economic transformation. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, becoming independent is very important for all nations in the world, but their legacy follow the region and region's countries. The most important problem, I think, the Soviet legacy and their underdeveloped background from in the 19th century and 18th century. In today's world, they have very strong, very important resources, very important human resources, and on the other hand, they cannot use both natural resources and human resources because of elite, administrative elite dominated the country in the most countries. Democratic developments, weak democratic developments show that problems, I think, and that causes also economic problems and economic problems of economic transformation. On the other hand, they are rich, they are very colorful, and they are very they have strong and rich historical background. I think many problems may solve as soon as possible, but the legacy of the problems should be solved, and many problems should be solved. On the other hand, the geographical location and their negative effects should be eliminated because they are located in the very closed area, very closed territory, and none of them has coast open seas, as you know. And international, on the other hand, international, the least international attractiveness to international finance or financial international financial possibilities reflect the country's low economic growth. They are not eager to foreign investors, especially that is very important for Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, because Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan has the most growth level, unlike others, because they are more eager to for international movements, international financial movements. So very complex questions and confusing us. Thank you very much. Not one. There is not one direction.
Thank you, Mrs. Kurniati, for the question. And next, Mr. Mete from Kirikale University.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 I am Mete from Kirikale University. I'm a student at university, a doctoral student. First, thank you for Professor Dikkaya for this seminar. The Professor Dikkaya said that Central Asian countries highly dependent to Russia. So I am conscious about what is the Chinese role in the Central Asia in the actual situation.
What about China's option, you mean?
Yes, with economical or political role on Central Asia.
Chinese influence in Central Asia, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. After Russian domination, Chinese and Chinese people, Chinese investors, Chinese businessmen came to Central Asia in 1990s, and after 2000, after the new millennium, new pipelines, new natural gas pipelines and oil pipelines constructed to the China. China has very important energy consumer in the world. Is the very important, is the most important energy consumer. So Turkmenistan established some new pipelines to China. Kazakhstan is also constructed new oil pipeline to China, and they are eager to go to Asian markets, South Asian and Eastern Asian markets to Japan, and that is the nomenclature, and that is the political elite use these options, and Chinese investors and Chinese businessmen are very effective in the region in the last years, especially in all of the world, in Africa, in the America, in Latin America, and very underdeveloped region. You can see Chinese businessmen. So dependency on Russian markets may have changed to dependency to Chinese markets. So that is the new change, new dependence type. But they are uneager. So no way. China is the most important economy in the world in purchasing power parity, but the more important than the United States. So the important problem is here Chinese dominance in the region, and political elites should be limited the pressure, Chinese pressure on the region, I think. Okay.
Okay, we have to move to the next question, maybe.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Mete, thank you very much for the question. Mr. Sabrika. Hello, Mr. Sabri. Would you please directly ask your question to our speaker? Yeah, thank you.
Sabri.
So, Mr. Sabri, can you hear me clearly?
Hello, can you hear me right now?
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much. Actually, I want to thank my professor. I'm student of Professor Dikaya, and I think it was very beneficial meeting in terms of explaining these countries. And actually, I want to ask my professor, as far as I can see, the world economy is going through very bad. And what can we wait in this region in terms of post-COVID scenario? That's all.
Okay. Yeah, we have witnesses. Inflationary process. So the inflationary process of the world has affected Central Asian countries also, because they are heavily independent, especially some consumer goods, food and something like that. That is important for Turkey, South Asian countries like Indonesia and other countries. High inflationary process started after the 1970s oil crisis. So that is relevant to Central Asian countries also. And that will continue, I think, at least 4 and 3 years, I think, after the COVID-19 effects, because of the COVID-19 effects.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mrs. Ahmad. Maybe would you please directly ask your question to our speaker, Mrs. Ahlam? Hello, Mrs. Ahlam. Mrs. Ahlam, can you hear me? Maybe still connection. Maybe I'm interested about the monetary crisis, Prof. We know anatomy of January effect and speculative bubble. Did it happen in a post-Soviet country, Prof? I'm still curious. I'm sorry about the January effect and speculative bubble in post-Soviet country, Prof.
Okay, Ms. Salina, I would like to thank you. And I forgot it. Thank you for everything.
Yes, maybe later we can do.
You have worked hard for this.
Maybe later we can do collaboration research about this topic, Prof.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Other
apologize. This is the last question because the time is up. And thank you, Prof. Mehmet, for the very insightful topic and interactive talks with our participant today. Before we end our session, would you mind to give us such anniversary greetings as our beloved Faculty of Economics is celebrating 18th anniversary? Please, Prof. Mehmet, the time is yours.
Pardon me?
Hello?
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Thank you, Prof. Mehmet, for the very insightful topic and interactive talks with our participant today. Before we end our session, would you mind to give us anniversary greetings as our beloved Faculty of Economics is celebrating 18th anniversary? Please, Prof. Mehmet, the time is yours. Anniversary greetings, Prof. Sorry.
Thank you very much for invitation and many greetings for the anniversary of your university. I hope we will see in Indonesia in the near time. Thank you very much for this opportunity for giving. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Mehmet. Dear all participants, before we end our seminar, I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker has presented. The region has been an important center of Islamic civilization in history, and great thinkers have emerged. Internal and external factors together delayed economics and political transition. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of seminar. Hopefully this seminar will be beneficial for everybody. And I also thank you for the committees who have organized this wonderful event. I'm very happy to meet our brother and sister in Turkey. Finally, give the applause for the speaker and for you all.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, and wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Happy fasting, everyone. Happy eating baklava in 3
Happy
hours.
fasting. Happy Ramadan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will be back to Mr. Evan.
Thank you very much. Happy Ramadan.
Absolutely marvelous. Such a valuable insight that we have just achieved from our amazing speaker today and summed up nicely by our dear moderator. For that, we offer you both our deepest gratitude. Sadly, this also marks the end of today's webinar for us. And not to forget, I adore all of the audience for your participation in attending this webinar. It has meant a lot for us as the organizer of this event. Special thanks to Professor Dr. Ari Saptono SAMPD for his outstanding opening remarks, and also for Mistress Titis Fatarina Mafiro SAMSM for her role in supervising organizer of this event behind the scene has not gone unnoticed. Again, we will never tire to remind you, our esteemed audience, to fill in the attendance link, for it is crucial in the retrieval of the highly precious International Webinar Certificate. Forget to do that, and your certificate may void. For any technical difficulty, feel free to contact one of our committee staff. As usual, before we end this meeting, we would like to take screenshot for documentation. So please, let's turn on our camera feature and give us your best smile. Smile for the camera. All right. Operator, take screenshot in 3, 2, 1. Smile for the camera. Next slide. 3, 2, 1. Smile for the camera. The operator will handle the rest. For your participation, and again, don't forget, I demand you to fill in the attendance link, for it is crucial to retrieve the certificate, please. Thank you. That is all the gratitude I can offer you right now. I hope you find this webinar helpful to broaden the grasp of your knowledge on economical and political transformation from decades to decades. Remember, don't just have a good day, have a fantastic day, everyone. I bid you farewell and see you in the next one in April 28, 2023 and May 6, 2023. See you soon and good afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.